So we thought that it might be nice for current Changemaker campuses and other guests here today to get a little bit of an introduction, a little bit of an insight into these three new candidates. And so I thought I'd also give a bit of a view, because even the current Changemaker campuses, we got launched in 2008. The selection process has evolved a lot over the last few years. And so it might be interesting even for the older Changemaker campuses to see what we're doing now. And so I thought I'd start here with back in the day. Some of you might remember this. I see Melissa and Anke pointing over there. This is the beautiful school bus at Camp Horizons in rural. It was fun, right? So we'll have to see if the exchange this year can live up. And so it's just about, I don't know, maybe 40 people in 2008 talking about a new vision for higher education and social innovation in higher education. And, well, here we are now. Quite an upgrade, I guess. And so that's really exciting. And where in the beginning we really tried to find those early adopters. We don't know what's going to happen. What does a Changemaker campus look like? Let's get together and learn together. Since then, we've been building criteria. And those criteria aren't arbitrary. Here's some of our process of how we've worked. We try to get together, find those. It's really based off of the Ashoka Fellow selection process. Find some entrepreneurial, innovative leaders on college campuses. Support them in building a team and connecting them with other colleagues. Really helping to try to catalyze and support the growth of social innovation across campuses and connecting them with peers. And so here are some of the things that we've learned in how the criteria have evolved currently. We have that entrepreneurial leader. We look for a team that isn't just in one school or one department or one division, but really reaches across campus, different departments, different disciplines. Please come on in, and maybe if you have a free seat in your aisle, maybe you can kind of scoot to the outside so the folks that are coming in can easily find a seat. Welcome. So our third criteria is around an ecosystem. So all of us are still very much on the way of embedding social innovation, of seeing social innovation pop up in different areas of campus and trying to connect those areas. But for Changemaker Campus, we really hope that there's some momentum in some area, some potential or area from which it can spread across campus. And we're looking for an action plan. So our hope is really now, if we come back in 10 years, is social innovation still a core value? Is it still a core part of what's happening on that campus? And so here, a little bit of a look into what the selection process looks like now. We have a 360 campus scan, which is an inventory. And many of you have done this and do this on a regular basis to see what are some of the change-making activities going on across campus in different areas. We talk about being so siloed. What's happening? How can we connect some of these efforts? A lot of interviews take place to kind of dig into the 360 campus scan, to really understand more what the potential is, whether the leaders in the team really have the promise and the potential to continue to drive this forward. We have a site visit to see what it all really looks like on the ground. And now we're getting to today in the current cohort of Changemaker Campus candidates, which is really a selection panel modeled after the Ashoka Fellow selection process, really intensive interviews. And then I just thought I'd give a quick shout out, because I know we have some of the selection panelists in the room today who are either deeply familiar with higher education, have experience with social entrepreneurship, have been key advisors to Ashoka U over the years. Please come on in. There's a few more seats up front, of course, right? So you have to come. And then finally here, I wanted to welcome and announce some Changemaker Campus candidates. We have Boston College, Dublin City University, and University of Northampton. And what's really exciting is our first Changemaker campus outside of the US was Tec de Monterrey in campus in Guadalajara. And now in this round of the selection process, we have 2 more universities that are outside of the US, in Ireland and in the UK. So it's really just so rewarding to see how some of this work is popping up and connecting to the work of Ashoka U in the US outside of the US. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's go back to this one, I guess, invite up, and maybe we'll start in reverse alphabetical order because, you know, that'll just be fair. So I'm going to start out with University of Northampton and welcome them up, and just maybe as they get set up, a quick anecdote from the site visit is that Tim is the change leader at University of Northampton. And when I went to visit, what really astounded me about the Northampton campus is that everywhere you go, you see social enterprise, social innovation. It's you can't really walk into a building without seeing the institutional commitment to it, and that was really something incredible, and I'm sure Tim will tell you a little bit more about how that evolved and how that happened at Northampton.
Thanks very much, Michelle, for throwing me in. I thought I was last. And I thought I had 45 minutes to talk, because all lecturers have 45 minutes to speak in, but I've got 4 to 5 minutes. So if you've never come across the University of Northampton, it's in the middle of England, so Northampton, England, rather than Northampton, Massachusetts. Northampton's worldwide renowned for being the home to the world's largest inland lighthouse. It's 127 metres high, and there's 14.6. Oh, you have to do that in feet and inches. So 47 feet along its base, and tapers up to 27 feet at the top. It's taller than Salisbury Cathedral in England. If you don't believe me, here's a photograph of the inland lighthouse in Northampton. It's actually a bit of a problem because Northampton's a very long way inland. It's 2.5 hours in every direction to the nearest piece of coastland. You can see Birmingham, London marked out there. It's within an hour and a half of pretty much about 90% of England. But for a person like myself who was born and brought up near the coast, it's always 2.5 hours away from everything that's important. You can see Northampton right in the centre of England there. It's actually, excuse me, it's actually not a lighthouse, sorry. It's called a lighthouse by a BBC radio presenter called Terry Wogan. It's actually one of 2 lift towers that are in Europe, a lift testing tower. So it's designed to test how quickly you can get people up and down very tall buildings. And when we were discussing how we could introduce Northampton, not only Northampton as a beacon, a lighthouse, but also this idea of a metaphor for the institutional challenges that we've had developing social entrepreneurship within the University of Northampton. Starting from the bottom, you can see there at the bottom of the light tower of this lift tower is actually it's built, or a housing estate has been built around it. It's grounded in its community. Northampton is a very regional university. Most students come to Northampton because it just happens to be there, rather than one that they really want to go to. We're trying to kind of, sorry, so that I didn't mean to say it like that. That's the fact of the situation. People don't necessarily come to Northampton because of something, and that's been a challenge for us as an organisation. But we are deeply embedded in local communities. But I'm a senior lecturer at the university. I'm not terribly important in the institution, and there's times when it seems to be a very long way to get to the top of the institution, and there's often a sense of the leadership of an organisation being quite remote and disinterested in what us poor university classroom lecturers have to get up to. And the daily concerns about managing hundreds of students and their particular concerns seem quite quite distant from the grand strategic plans of the university. But nonetheless, a deeply embedded community of lecturers, most of whom live in the county quite close to the university, and are actively engaged in communities and trusts and being directors, etc., and working alongside disadvantaged communities in that locality. On the other hand, at the top it's quite lonely. That's the top of the lift tower. You can see right out across the whole of Northampton. You can see the rugby ground below you, so it's a good place to check out the rugby game. But there's a searchlight focus on big strategic issues which are important to the university as an institution. But it's also very important in giving legitimacy and power to the social entrepreneurs working at the grassroots. And that's been very much our story as Ray and myself and about 3 or 4 other people within the university getting on and doing socially entrepreneurial things, often in spite of the institution rather than because of it, and quite often without permission from the institution. But for a new Vice-Chancellor to come in and see what we were doing anyway, regardless, and to give legitimacy and influence to that has been very profound for the organisation and for people working at the bottom of the organisation. There's also a significant influence on the local economy. The university is one of the largest employers in the area outside the general hospital, and also produces the greatest number of people going into the workforce in that particular region. So there's issues both and challenges and activity both at the grassroots level, but also at the high strategic level. The challenge for us as an institution is the middle bit just ain't interesting. It's all very well talking about grassroots stuff, down with the people, down on the street, doing community profiling, working alongside community groups and charities. It's also very interesting working at strategic level, talking about big local economic strategies and health and well-being strategies and stuff like that. But actually the day-to-day stuff of running a university and getting on and delivering the same thing very well and very efficiently is the biggest challenge to us as an institution. And there's all sorts of structural issues around rules that our funding partners and funding organisations within the state expect, the sort of style of running an organisation that they expect. People and activities that don't have a strategic purpose, maybe lots of busyness around administrating an organisation, administering modules, administering students and helping them get through their degree programme. The shape and design of modules and programmes, the shape and design of the timetable, the amount of rooms that are available at the right time of day, all those sorts of things that get in the way of social entrepreneurs in residence like my colleague Ray, finding times and spaces to have intensive work with students. And this central bit of the lift tower is the heaviest bit, the longest lived bit of the institution. So working in Northampton is we can do great interesting stuff at the strategic level and lots of strategic projects, lots of interesting projects on the periphery of our organisation. We can also do lots and lots and increasing amounts of activity with our communities. But it's the bit in the middle that's going to be the hardest and longest thing to turn around, 5 years or more, as institutions change and as we change module structures and programme structures. But most of that's being driven by the student experience. The shift in the way in which students are funded in the UK has meant that the student experience for a teaching institution rather than research-based institution is the primary focus of what we want to do. We want to be able to develop and give opportunities to students to become change makers in their own right, to see themselves as active and purposeful, to have and develop a set of values that they can deliver to their future employers. So for us at Northampton, just being able to see over the last 3 or 4 years a strategic vision being put in place, reflecting and legitimising grassroots level organisation. The biggest challenge over the next few years, as the rest of the world moves very rapidly, is how you turn a very large ship around on a dime, trying to make significant changes within the core of the organisation without oppressing people, but also in a way that allows them to be much more entrepreneurial. So hopefully that gives you just a tiny slice of what we're trying to do at University of Northampton.
Thank you, Tim. And now we'll have Dublin City University. And maybe as Breen gets set up, Breen is president at Dublin City University, and Emer will also be presenting a lecture at Dublin City University. When I went to the site visit in Dublin, I hadn't even gotten out of the airport. My passport was being checked at the passport control and was very friendly, you know, really the typical Irish stereotype. He was asking me where I was going and what I was doing, and so started talking about social entrepreneurship and Dublin City University. He says, that is an amazing institution. They're all about social entrepreneurship, and they're so embedded in the community, and they're doing so much good. And I started to get suspicious. I thought, did they place this guy here? This is incredible. And then later during the day, we were visiting what they call DCU in the community, which is really all about access to education. It's in a really underprivileged area in northern Dublin, and DCU has a base there. And we're getting a tour and walking around and hearing about some of the access programs, and we were walking down the sidewalk, nowhere near DCU, and to take a picture. And this older gentleman jumps into the picture and wants to have his picture taken as well. And we said, fine, come on in. And he starts a conversation. He says, what are you doing? Oh, you're from Dublin City University. This Dublin City University is so wonderful. They started this initiative around the age-friendly university and had an open house and let me come in, and so it was, then I was even more suspicious. But apparently none of these things were actually staged or placed, but it was a really fun experience to see how embedded Dublin City University actually is in the community. So.
Keep talking.
I don't know how many.
Behind it.
And you can close that out if you would like.
Not being Apple devotees, we don't know how
And
to
I think
do
I
it.
probably didn't even introduce myself, so I see tons of familiar faces, but I'm Michelle Lehman, I'm director of the Changemaker Campus Consortium. And also maybe just one kind of point of interest is that we currently have 19 Changemaker campuses, and then 3 more candidates that are going through the selection process. So that's kind of where we're at. So just a tremendous growth, and we're so excited that you're all here at the Exchange, starting at Camp Horizon with 40 people, and now over 600 here. So we're just couldn't be more delighted to have you here.
Anyway, thanks for that, Michelle. My name is Brian, and my colleague Emer will be joining me as well, president of Dublin City University, and not a Mac fan. I'm a DC fan myself. You wouldn't believe how much it cost us to put on that show for Michelle when she visited Dublin, but it worked evidently. Okay, we've got 7 slides. I'm going to move through this very quickly, and Emer will take over from me shortly. Just a few facts about our university, first of all. Very young university, just established in 1989. We're now 11,500 students. We've over 500 so-called access students. This is one of the features of the university. This is students from socially disadvantaged backgrounds who wouldn't be at university were it not for our intervention and philanthropic support. And they do extremely well. The completion rate alone for those students is 93%. Over 92% of them get first class or second class honours degrees. So this whole notion of social engagement is built into the university. Ireland, believe it or not, this is something you won't know, is now the most globalised country in the Western world. And that's reflected in our international student representation. So we've just under 2,000 students from outside of Ireland, from 114 different nations. So it's very multi-ethnic, very multicultural. And that's all happened in the past 20 years. 20 years ago, Ireland was almost completely mono-ethnic society, but this dramatic change is now reflected. As my job as president of the university is to market the university, so we're very happy to say that last year we were designated in the top 50 young universities in the world, which is universities under the age of 50 themselves. So end of marketing, and move on from that. They say the job of a CEO or president is to establish a strategic plan and to make sure that it's running. So my first 2 years I spent really developing a strategic plan for the university. I'm just over 2.5 years into the role of president. And this here, the title alone reflects, if you like, the value system and the ethos of the university itself. Transforming lives and societies. So I believe it reflects a very engaged and committed university. The transforming lives refers not only to the students themselves and transforming their futures, but the fact that the university then can impact on the lives of societies around us, whether that be local or global. And we've introduced the term for the university, Ireland's University of Enterprise, and again a deliberate double meaning there as well. First of all, referring to the enterprising and innovative mindsets we try to foster in our students and ultimately our graduates, but also a university that engages very strongly with the enterprise sector. And what I mean by that is standard commercial enterprises, cultural enterprises, and in particular social enterprises. So one of the things that motivated me to move from my job as a research physicist, which was my previous role, to take on the president's role, was the fact that you could actually do something like this and actually define a very clear mission and set of actions for the university itself, and that's laid out in this plan now. I won't go through all the vision, mission, value statements that you usually get, but the repeated words throughout our strategic plan are those for their enterprise, engagement, translation and transformation. And such was the impact of that we actually built those in as the structure of the strategic plan itself. And when you think of those 4 words, each of them maps onto our understanding of Changemaker campus. So there was such a strong resonance. So I recognize quite a number of familiar faces in the audience. So when I first started engaging with Ashoka, I came over for the event in DC last summer. And a lot of you gave me great advice at that stage in terms of getting on this pathway. So we're delighted to have come this distance now. But the resonance between the two for us was extremely strong indeed. And one manifestation of that is in one of our new initiatives around what we call Generation 21. This is instilling 21st century attributes layered into all our degree programs on top of the disciplinary knowledge and disciplinary specialization. We've identified by dialogue with the world of employment, the world of work, the world of the society around us, 6 key attributes, and I show you 4 of them there. So we are seeking to instill in our students that they be creative and enterprising, that they be solution focused, that they be globally engaged, and that they be active leaders. And again, we see that as a very strong resonance with the whole notion of a Changemaker campus. So you can map those 4 attributes onto the notion that our students and ultimately our graduates will be change makers in their own right. So you can see the resonance all the time. So that gave us the motivation to go ahead and get on this pathway that brought us here today. So at this stage I'm going to hand over to my colleague Emer, and she'll talk about going from the strategy bit that I talk about to the actual specific actions.
Thank you, Brian. I work as a lecturer, or in the American context, a professor of entrepreneurship, and I've taken on a particular role working with Brian on developing the social entrepreneurship aspect of our university. And I just want to talk to you about a few actual projects that we're doing. So we can talk about the strategic plan and what's in that. This is the reality, this is the action part of it. You Start, this is a new initiative whereby supported by the JP Morgan Chase Foundation, whereby we will provide students, instead of them going out and say working on a year's work placement to get experience as part of their degree, they will take a year away from their studies to work on developing an enterprise idea that they have. We will provide them with financial support, accommodation on the campus and so on. So while it de facto most of the people who will come through this program will be setting up for-profit business enterprises, but it is also specifically open to those who are interested in setting up social enterprises. The next step from that is that we're hoping to source additional funding so that we can have a particular program that might be You Start for social entrepreneurship, not just entrepreneurship in general. So that's one of the projects that's literally starting this year. The picture of the beautiful building down below on the left is the DCU Ryan Academy for Entrepreneurship. This is in a completely different location in the city, whereby we're developing various programs on entrepreneurship, training programs, for example, for women, because women are underrepresented in terms of setting up any kind of enterprises. But one of the more interesting projects there is that we sourced European Commission funding to set up, in conjunction with Bangor University in the north of Wales, a master's programme in innovation for social enterprise. This was a hugely oversubscribed programme. A lot of the leaders involved in social enterprises in Ireland and in Wales are attending this part-time 2-year master's programme. It is being provided in a blended learning context, so that long-term a lot of the materials will be available online, so that we can then make these modules available at a relatively small cost to other students on the campus through other programmes. DCU in the community, as Michelle said, DCU happens to be located very close to one of the most deprived communities, urban communities in Ireland, and we have our own offices up there. Right across from this building you have high-rise tower blocks in which a lot of disadvantaged families would have been living. There's a whole regeneration process going on there. So we have it literally in the community, where we provide programmes returning to education for women, for young people and so on. And literally we did meet an older man who said he had lied about his age and pretended he was a bit older so that he would be eligible to come into this particular programme. And part of what we're doing as well, as a result of this whole process and going through the Ashoka Changemaker accreditation, is that we are building a much closer relationship between the full-time students on the campus and DCU in the community. So looking at volunteer opportunities in this particular community for our students who are working on the main campus. The main campus students as well would be involved maybe already in volunteering, say, giving maths tuition, additional maths tuition to children in the local school which is designated disadvantaged. Another project that we have is the Age-Friendly University, the man we met on the street, as well. And this is about intergenerational learning. It's about recognising that the older you get doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to put on the slippers and sit at home watching television and being a passive member of society. That these people have a lot to learn in terms of accessing university education that mightn't have been available for them when they were much younger, but that they have a lot to offer as well. And by having this intergenerational project where we have our students who are in their late teens and early 20s, who might, for example, be far more technologically literate, working in conjunction with the older people, and that there's life skills and technical skills being swapped there. So we've great expectations of that particular project. That has been that model is being adopted by Arizona State University, which is also a Changemaker campus, and we're looking at developing it along in other universities as well. So there's some examples of strategic projects, but in addition to that, some of the student success that we've had with the students themselves. And starting at the top on the left there, we have a number of students, including one of my own students who did a degree with us in our school only last year. They accessed funding from the Arthur Guinness Social Innovation Fund to set up an organisation called DCU RAG, Raising and Giving. It's about empowering the students themselves to get involved. It's very much a student-driven organisation. They accessed 50,000 euros from the Arthur Guinness Fund, which was then matched by one of the major millionaire financiers in the country, who had said, if you get 50,000 anywhere else, I'll match that up to 30,000 euros. And now the two guys on the left have been setting up DCU RAG, Raising and Giving societies, in other universities all around Ireland. On the right hand side as well, we have a photograph of the students taking part in the inaugural Irish competition in SIFE, or Enactus as it has been rebranded. Some of you might be familiar with that competition. DCU won the inaugural competition in Ireland, and the award was presented by our Minister or Secretary of Education, Rory Quinn, who's second from the right in the photograph. And we went on to Washington. This was an amazing experience for the students to realise the power of social entrepreneurship. Another example we have below here, with the yin and yang symbol, Coder Dojo is an example of an 18-year-old student a young man who was very interested in computer coding. And we have football societies, we have dancing lessons, we have community games and so on. How often do we foster this interest in computer coding that young people have? And this organisation set up only 2 years ago, Coder Dojo. There are 10,000 students, 10,000 young people aged from 6 years of age maybe up to 16, 17, learning coding in these coding clubs in 22 countries worldwide, all set up by a young 18-year-old man in Ireland. And we have one of the 2 permanent spaces for Coder Dojo clubs happening on the campus in DCU every Saturday, all these young children learning coding. And now we're setting up another branch of it in DCU in the community, so that it's in the community itself. And then we have the picture on the lower left here is our Taoiseach, our Prime Minister, who launched our age-friendly initiative with one of the students who's attending one of the age-friendly projects on the campus. And as a result of, during our site visit, you will see Michelle sitting here, proudly sitting in the middle here, and Sarah Bernstein, who works in the Ashoka office in Dublin as well. It was exam week during the Ashoka site visit to us, and yet we were able to bring this group of students at relatively short notice in their exam week. Some of them had exams that morning or later on that day or the following day, and it's an example of the various student clubs and societies on the campus who are already involved in various aspects of social entrepreneurship. As a result of this particular meeting, the Students' Union, or the representative body, have set up their own social entrepreneurship group, and a lady from DCU in the community who had only joined DCU to start working with us the day before this site visit, she has already begun working very closely with the students on developing the volunteering opportunities that will be available out in the community. So this whole process of going through the accreditation for a Changemaker campus has already triggered a lot of additional energy and activity and visions among the students and among staff as well. So we hope to share some of those ideas with you later on during the course of the conference. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So before we break out into the project groups, we'll have one more campus, Stephanie Burzin and Marcy from Boston College, and they have a video to show. And also just wanted to, just for the presenters of the project groups, to give you a few minutes to think about this, just if you could give a 30-second pitch about what your group is doing, so that people can decide which groups they might want to join. Actually, maybe we'll do that now. So actually, just because I see Melissa's face, maybe you can, or Cheryl, just share briefly about.
Do you want me to do it?
Sure.
Okay. Hi, I'm Angela Peluso with Verizon. Next door, we'll be talking about our Shared Success Innovation Lab, which is an exciting partnership that we've just launched with Ashoka, and hopefully campuses like yourselves who are interested in participating. We want to take these this notion of shared value and how to use our advanced network technology to solve for pressing problems in the areas of healthcare, education, and sustainability. So that's what we'll be talking about. So hopefully you'll be able to join.
Thank you, Angela. And is Jen or Jeremy here in the room? Jen, you want to introduce your excellent.
I'm Jen Fishman, this is my colleague Jeremy Fife, and we are inviting all of you who are part of Changemaker campuses to join us in the next session and help to build the 3 C's of Changemaker Campus Collaboratory, which will be a way to figure out how we can connect ourselves to each other across campuses and share resources, to try to build a real Changemaker spirit across as well as within our campuses. So we'll share all the details.
Excellent. And then is, let's see, Jeff or David, they might be setting up actually in their room. So Jeff Snell from Marquette University and David Bornstein, author of How to Change the World. You're probably familiar with him. They're launching an online platform for to repurpose Fixes You content, David Bornstein's New York Times column, for social entrepreneurship education. Looking for collaborators, kind of getting feedback on their beta platform, so that should be a really exciting session as well. And then let's see, which project? I know there's one more. Communication, thank you. Pam, are you in the room and want to share about it? Let's see, I saw her before. RJ, maybe?
I
No.
can briefly share.
Okay, excellent.
I'm Regina with Stanford Social Innovation Review, and we're going to be having a workshop to talk about how new Changemaker campuses or old ones can work with the press and the media, using social media and working with the press both locally and nationally to get more attention to programs.
Thank you, Regina. That sounds great. Okay. Charles.
Obviously, we can't go to more than one session, but how do we find out what came out of other sessions? Is there a place where notes are transcribed? Or?
Excellent. So we'll send it out to the group of Changemaker campuses to keep you updated. I know that many of you will be interested. You want to learn about what you can do in terms of communication and leveraging the Changemaker campus designation, but you all also want to learn about what happened with the collaboratory and how to get connected to that. So we'll make sure to send out the updates afterwards.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
pass
you.
it over to Stephanie.
Sure. Hi, I'm Stephanie Berzin. This is my colleague, Marcy Pickatsufis. And there was no way we could describe what we're doing in 4 minutes. So we decided to do a video because that would keep us right on time. So this is our introduction to Boston College.
Boston College has forever been rooted in the Jesuit ideals of the pursuit of a just society. While social innovation is a newer construct, Boston College has remained steadfast in its primary mission of fostering the rigorous intellectual development of its undergraduate, graduate, and professional students in order to prepare them for citizenship, service, and leadership in global society.
I decided to come to Boston College because of their commitment to social justice and their belief that service to others is critical. I've done volunteer work and service work before, but I wanted somewhere to go where I could put my skills into action, and not just any type of action, but something innovative and new, and that's what I found here at Boston College.
The Graduate School of Social Work took the lead in moving Boston College forward in the realm of social innovation. Starting in 2009, Drs. Marcy Pickatsufis and Stephanie Berzin initiated the development of the first comprehensive social work program in social innovation. 2010 marked the development of the Social Innovation Lab, a venture which supported social sector leaders in implementing their own social innovation projects. In 2011, Boston College welcomed its first cohort of social innovation and leadership students.
Social innovation at Boston College helps me see myself as a leader and learn how to solve the most pressing problems in today's world in a transformative way. Being a student in the Social Innovation and Leadership program prepares me with these skills.
In 2012, Boston College launched the Center for Social Innovation to conduct rigorous research on the practice of social innovation for social justice. While it started with the Graduate School of Social Work, social innovation has long been embedded in the ecosystem of Boston College. Social innovation is evident at the academic level in topics of research, as well as student engagement demonstrated by the numerous student-led clubs, groups, and on-campus activities. The Social Innovation Council was established to support the formation of social innovation initiatives on campus, composed of leadership from a variety of disciplines across campus, including the Office of the Provost, School of Law, Lynch School of Education, Carroll School of Management, and the Capstone Program. The Social Innovation Council demonstrates Boston College's investment in social innovation as an integral piece of the university's landscape. These distinguished leaders work cooperatively to share and disseminate information as well as to enhance and facilitate collaborative innovations throughout the Boston College community. Our work fully supports and nurtures the creative and innovative innovative efforts of our students so that they can extend their purpose beyond the boundaries of Boston College. Boston College graduates Max Aid and Paul Viega co-founded Maji Bottles. For every stainless steel 100% BPA-free bottle they sell, the team makes a donation to Charity Water. Boston College sophomore Dan Sipple recently launched Buy For Us with fellow sophomore John Guzzi and business school student Dennis Wang. Through Buy For Us, users have the ability to donate 5% of the value of any of their purchases to the charity of their choice. Greg Nemeth started WakeMate with a Yale colleague when he was a Boston College junior in 2009. Greg and his business partner have since created technology that alerts users of their optimal wake point, or lightest point, in sleep.
To me, social innovation is more than just a theory or an educational construct. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of looking at our society and the issues that we have that are so prevalent across all different facets and trying to figure out the best approach to solving these social issues. I would definitely say in my future, social innovation is something that I'm going to be using a lot. It's not something stagnant, it's constantly changing, and it's one of those things that you can just take with you everywhere you go.
Hi, I'm Brittany Cotelis. I'm a member of the Ashoka U team. First of all, let's just give a round of applause to the 3 campuses who they are fresh from the selection panel process this morning. So just a huge round of applause to you guys. What I love about the Changemaker Campus Consortium is that every campus brings a different story and a different perspective to this process. So we're really grateful to listen to the 3 stories of Boston College and Dublin City University and Northampton. And so thank you for being here. And now, together, we're really excited to offer 4 different workshops, 4 different projects looking at how do we make this consortium better? How can we really take advantage of this network of these campuses, and how can we make something big for social innovation education, social entrepreneurship education? So there are 4 different projects. Has everybody heard something about these? Yeah. You might have an idea of what you want to do. Yeah. Maybe you don't. So we'll kind of maybe give an overview of like a one-liner of what. We already did that, so we're not going to do it. So I'm just going to tell you where to go. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so the communication, messaging, branding project, if you're going down this hallway, it's the very last room on your left, okay? And then working our way back up. The next one is collaboration between campuses.
It's the harbor room.
It's the, yes, harbor A. They're all harbor with a letter. So we're just going to go visual. So you're walking down the hallway. Last on the left is communication, branding, then collaboration, the Verizon partnership, and in this room will be the session with Marquette University and David Bornstein. Any questions? Thank you.